Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Over the Cup podcast, a Formula One podcast for fans old and new by Formula One fans old and new. Today, we are talking about British GP. This is a race preview, and I'm joined by a very good friend who I wanted to be on this podcast for a very long time. Sid.
Hello.
What is up, Sid? Long time no see.
Yeah, lots of work, lots of things happening in the Indian automotive market. So
yes, Sid is a professional driver.
Professional driver. Yes. Yeah.
Protest editor, driver, same thing.
Yeah.
He gets to drive fancy cars before they're launched.
Not just fancy cars, all cars. Almost all cars.
All cars are fancy cars, unless you're talking about Alto. So, before we get into British GP, there are a lot of things happening in this exciting world of Formula One. And we will start from least controversial to most controversial.
Okay.
So, F1 is going to South Africa.
Yay. So, what, 20? We expect a calendar of 24 races next year?
I don't know. I've heard that Spa might not be there on calendar next year.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're getting Vegas and Miami and not Spa, is it worth it? No, I don't think so. Spa is one of my favorite tracks.
Yeah, but as has been proven a lot of times in F1 recently, money
cash is king.
Yeah. So what we get is I'm excited about some of the tracks. Say I am excited about what happens in Vegas. I'm not very sure. It'll be like a very high speed run with dramatic braking points and all.
It looks to me like the proposed track layout looks to me like a hybrid child of Baku, and I want to have another street track which has dramatic braking. I don't know if I want to. So I would say it's Baku and Singapore maybe, because it's not Monaco.
It's not.
It's not Monaco. I mean,
they can track. There's no, except for maybe one overpass or something like that, or
yeah.
Except for that, there's nothing. Just a flat track.
Yeah. So this is what my problem is. When they are proposing these new tracks, like even in Miami, that track is okay. I mean, and with all the hype that was created around Miami, it was a pretty boring race. Let's face it, nothing happened until lap 30 when Norris and Gasly had a crash.
Yeah, and Schumacher crashed into
Vettel. Oh my god. Until then,
it was a train. It was trains everywhere, which we expected that wouldn't happen this year. But
yeah.
So street circuits not so. Thankfully, I mean, it's sad to see Spa go. Hopefully, it does not. But even if it does, and if South Africa is included, then from the hours of footage that I've seen like GT racing footage in preparation for this.
Oh, so more preparation than I did. More preparation than what I did. So yeah, I've not seen. I think there hasn't been a race there since the 80s. No, since the 90s.
90s, yeah. For F1, no, but international racing, last one was in 2019. So that's the latest video that I was watching, and the track is like the old school tracks which were made around natural obstacles. See, there's a mountain, and you're just using the valleys and the troughs and whatever there is to create a track. So this is
like Spa.
Not as dramatic as Spa, but yeah, at least like it's not a flat
pseudo Spa. Yeah, but like I don't have a problem with South Africa. And from everybody who has seen any kind of racing in South Africa, everybody has said that is an amazing track. So we've had this conversation on this podcast many times, and we think that if F1 wants to increase number of races, they should have 15 tracks that are like fixed and then rotate the next 10 tracks every year. So these 15 tracks would be your Monacos and Silverstone and Monza, which are like legacy tracks. And history, tradition, this, that. And I'm not on this podcast, we're not the biggest Monaco fans. None of us like Monaco.
I understand.
Tracks like Spa going and tracks like Monaco staying.
Yeah.
And tracks like Vegas getting added. And even Miami, like, yeah.
So South Africa, from what I could see, GT racing, most of GT cars, except for say maybe the BMW and the Bentleys, they are about 1.9 meters, and our F1 cars are 2 meters
2
wide.
meters wide.
So, in spite of the width, it looks like there will be opportunities to overtake. Yeah, there were a lot of overtaking in GT, but that is GT3 class. Like GT class is always like that. They have they're not as dependent on DRS for overtaking. Have that power, thoda sa power difference. They have the handicap for the faster cars. All that stuff is there, which F1 doesn't have. So, but at least it won't be like they'll be following each other because there's no space. They'll be following each other because that's how F1 still is, unfortunately. But at least it looks exciting. So, yes, looking forward to it. Hopefully it will be like, finally it will be a world championship, because now there is F1 racing on all the continents.
All continents. Yeah.
At least the ones that are.
Do you ever think they are going to come back to India?
Oh no. I don't think they are coming back to BIC at least. It needs a lot of renovation and better management to be back.
Yeah, I am watching older seasons, and today I watched 2013 Indian GP. Vettel won the championship.
Donuts in 2013?
Yeah, Vettel did donuts because he became the world champion in India.
Yeah. I remember that one. I was on the grandstand at that time.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, was that the one that you saw in India?
Yeah. No, I went for all three, but that time I was almost in front of him. He was maybe.
Did you manage to catch the glove that he threw?
He was another part.
I would have bought it from you. Vettel is. I don't know if I was following Formula One at that time. I don't know if I would have been the biggest Vettel fan, because he is.
Yeah, all champions become at least the recent ones. I think apart from Schumacher, nobody has been universally loved. Schumacher and maybe Kimi.
Oh, Kimi is not universally loved. There are some Reddit threads that say otherwise. I don't think universally loved is a concept. I think even Schumi was not universally loved until he retired. I think none of these champions will be universally loved until they retire. As long as they are on there are going to be people who don't like them. But Vettel was an asshole. Like Red Bull, Vettel was an asshole. Pretty much like Max is. And I mean, hey, something about these Red Bull champions, huh? Speaking of Red Bull, Juri Vips.
Oh yeah, nice segue. Nice
segue. Yeah, I know. Very proud of myself. But Juri Vips was suspended for using an N-word on a Twitch stream. Yeah. And apparently it was also like he didn't want to wear a pink cap. He made some sort of a homophobic comment or something like that. But anyways, like the N-word thing, it's apparently is now been terminated.
Yeah, from the Red Bull team.
So the statement that Red Bull released was that he's been terminated from okay, hold on, let me check, because what they implied was that he has been terminated as the so he's a test and reserve driver. So I was under the impression that okay, he's not going to work for Red Bull in Formula One, test and reserve driver. I was under the impression that he still has his F2 seat. But I went to Red Bull Junior, like the website, Red Bull Junior Drivers, and his name has been removed from that website.
Correct.
And I mean, while I'm very happy, if you remember, there were few choicest words that Max Verstappen used against a certain Canadian, which had racist connotations. I researched a lot about it. So I think given what we saw last year and how Max has been, at least in his formative or initial years in Formula One, I would say good steps by Red Bull, but it was almost like it's either Vips or Max having to publicly criticize his future father-in-law. So it's either or.
Oh man, race and
yeah, because Red Bull has not put out any statement against what Nelson Piquet said. And again, it's misleading. If I had not, like, until I went on the website of the junior drivers, I was under the impression that he would not be testing and he would not be a reserve driver for Red Bull. He still gets to compete in Formula 2. And I guess we'll find out. We have a Formula 2 race this weekend. Like,
yeah, actually, Abhi has said nothing about Nelson Piquet.
Yeah, so
Weird.
They don't condone racism of any form until it's the father-in-law of their chosen star. Like, it's
No, but still, like after, I'm pretty sure there are stories about Lewis that we do not know, like horrible stories.
of course
And
there must be.
still, people, why does it have to be about whatever nonsense about race? And I do not understand that attitude. There's like in this day and age, after so many fucking years, he does not deserve. Be angry. Be angry that he's beating your favorite drivers. Be angry that he's been untouchable for such a long time in terms of racing. But please do not. I do not understand why you had to bring in the race color.
Race card. Yeah.
Holy
I hate it. I hate it. And I mean, like Lewis has said it multiple times in his interview ever since his karting days, being the only black family that was doing it. And like he's faced it all his life. And just the fact that it's still happening, like, sure, you don't have to like him, but that does not mean you have to demean and disrespect him like this.
Yeah.
And like that, the word in question has had such a brutal history and the meaning behind it. And like my favorite thing to watch on Twitter is white people giving this argument that, oh, black people can say the N word, but we can't. Anything white people say is going to be racist or this or that. And I'm like, that's not how it works. You have to know your history. Like, it's mind-boggling to me how many people don't understand the history of slavery and colonization and everything. And
and that's the case with Juri Vips, no? That's what happened. Like the things that he said were
I don't even know, like, dude, I am not the biggest Red Bull fan.
No, still.
I don't follow its drivers. I just got to know everything from Twitter. So I have not watched the live stream. And he was playing like, I think, Call of Duty or something with another driver, another Red Bull driver. I think it was Liam Lawson.
Yeah. And there were other drivers also. So the thing is,
he said the word, others laughed, and there are other people who are like, oh, it was a nervous laughter or this or that. And
I'm pretty sure that the languages that most of the F1 grid uses, everyone, I'm not discounting anyone in the F1 grid, be it team principals, be it journalists themselves, they like, when we are off the air or we are talking to each other, there will be words which are horrible, but you have to learn the history. Like there are some bad, there are bad words and you need to know why they are. And
yes,
maybe among friends, I mean, even among friends, it's not
even among friends,
and it's not about being like some would say that they don't mean the bad words that they use, but in some way, when you perpetuate those words again and again and again, and people hear you, they might not take it that way, right?
You're not explaining the context in which you are speaking those words, even if
you don't need them. That's the thing. If you need to be angry, there is the universal.
There are so many words, so many words that I can think of if I want to
to use when you're
to
angry.
express my anger. None of them
Especially
have
and
any
Call of
racist.
Duty, I can understand. Call of Duty is like, and all those first-person shooting games and everything. If you're not doing well, you see somebody do. Even in racing, when you see somebody overtake you, be better. You will get angry. That's there, but you need to know and you need to unlearn some things.
Yeah. Words have meanings, and if you use those words, there should be consequences. Kudos to Red Bull for
To peer
taking.
pressure, all that stuff also comes in. Like you might see someone you like in your group that uses such words. You don't have to.
Have you? Okay. For that argument, have you never cut off people from your life who have had such views where you don't agree with their views and you're like, you've not? I can at least name 4 people from our little group that we eventually decided to exclude because they were like just not good, decent people.
Yeah, I'm not like I don't. Maybe I'm not that brave that I'll tell them that.
No. I'm not saying you have to confront them. I'm just saying that you.
But yeah, I don't interact with them. There are lots of people like that.
There are lots of people, right? Like I have now started unfollowing people on my Instagram who have such views. See, I'll just say this. I can understand old people. They are dinosaurs. They're not going to change. It does not excuse them from the language they use or the behavior they exhibit, but it's hard to change them when they've been on this earth for 50, 60 years and they've been conditioned a certain way. I don't think there is an excuse for young people who the supposed woke generation.
Especially these drivers, some may be struggling with like not all of them are well to do, but they interact a lot more than the rest of us, many of us, right?
Yeah.
So they cannot say that they can't be ignorant. I see absolutely nothing that Juri Vips can say that makes this better. But I also don't support the people who are saying it is just a small mistake and he should be punished for it. No, you have reached a stage where nothing you do is a small mistake. Everything has consequences, and the consequences are much higher for you guys.
Yeah, so. I mean, it's when you have a following, when you are looked up as a role model by so many people, and there are people who follow you, who follow your work and support you. You can't be this irresponsible with things that you say in the public eye. So yeah, kudos to Red Bull for taking this action. But I mean, like, it's good. So what do you think of the technical directive?
Seemed a bit rushed to me. I think I think the FIA should have thought about this earlier, like from the moment that we started seeing some teams struggling with it, and it was clear to see that a lot of drivers were like it would affect the driver. We didn't have to wait till Canada. Yeah,
but see, it's also very track dependent. Like it was, I think, if people in FIA or like even the teams and the drivers did not see it coming in Baku is a little like, I don't buy it. Like I knew that porpoising is going to be a big issue in Baku because of the long straights, and the thing is, it's very track dependent. It's very track dependent because if you remember in Spain it vanished. It just vanished for every team. Like there was
because they tested there, no? So they had the data to help them out.
Yeah, sure, but like no team had porpoising there. At least wasn't as extreme. But I don't think like Ferrari and Mercedes are the teams that have suffered the most because of porpoising, and that Mercedes was flying. Like both the Mercedes.
But that's what it shows that like it seems like at least in the terms of in the case of the Mercs, it seems like they were ready to sacrifice more in terms of drivers' health.
Yeah, that was a dick move.
Because Ferrari, like the Ferrari car it's not like it doesn't have any porpoising, right? You see it like most of the races you see the Ferraris also porpoising, but they have found that level where performance and at the same time they're not punishing the drivers as much, which the Merc they had to push for performance.
They
had to get the car.
I don't agree. Like, I think Carlos Sainz was one of the first people who spoke about the effects of porpoising on the driver. Like, I think the reason people are not talking about how affected Ferrari was is because they have the performance despite the porpoising. Like, it's only because of that. In my view, both the teams did not compromise on their performance, and they were like, our drivers will suffer, but we are not going to compromise on our performance. I think both the teams, and the reason we're not talking about it is because it's not Mercedes, it's not Lewis. But I think in terms of the directive, I think what they've done is decent enough, where they've said that you have to show in FP1 and FP2 that your car can, with your setup, that you can, what do I say? That the car is not going to cross the threshold that they are going to set. Like, I don't think they had set it in Canada, but I think from Silverstone onwards that will be set. So if the cars cannot show that they can meet those standards, they have to raise the ride height. And even if after raising the ride height, if the car does not meet the thresholds, whatever it is that they decide, whatever metric or parameters that they decide, they will be disqualified. Like, they will not be allowed to race. This is what I understood from the technical directive, and I think that's as fair as they can make it.
Yeah, that's true. What really confuses me is one, that how like Red Bull seems to have, like, Adrian Newey has been in the sport for such a long time that Red Bull designed a car that is not porpoising, right? But
they seem to have a handle on their things. I think from
I don't understand how the other teams don't, which is
because there are different design philosophies.
Yeah, still, but see, porpoising is not helping, right? So it is a phenomenon that happened the last time we had cars with
ground effects. 70s and 80s. I think it was late 70s, early 80s.
We have had cars from that time, and there are other series which also in, say, endurance racing also, where they have suffered from porpoising. So it's not a new phenomenon. It is, after all, porpoising is not helping. Like, even though Ferrari might be able to be as quick and everywhere, and especially be quick on the straight line also, even with porpoising, it is not a good thing for. So the fact that some teams were not able to handle this, and we have reached a point where the FIA has had to step in, looks very weird to me. Like, I expected them to get over this problem a long time back. But yeah, it's a good thing. I see it as a positive thing, and even if it takes away a bit of performance from some teams, it's a fair thing. Like, you shouldn't. Injuries in sport is a thing that many in different sports people have. The athletes have not received. I'm not aware many a times, like, say, with bobsledding and all that, where the athletes did not know that as they were going down these bumpy tracks on ice, they had the mini concussions that they were getting were actually harming them.
Yeah.
But there's a clear case where, in, say, for us in F1, where there's a clear proof that this is going to hurt the drivers.
Yeah.
It's a good thing that the FIA stepped, and I don't think any team has the right to complain now.
Yeah, I think this is as fair as they could have been. It's very clear. Like, if you can show that your car is not going to porpoise beyond a certain limit, you are allowed to race. And I think it's as fair. Sure, it's going to, there are chances that it is going to affect Mercedes and Ferrari more than it affects the other teams. But it's the consequences of sticking to the design philosophy that you chose. So I think this is as fair as they could have made it, and I'm just happy FIA is finally doing things that they were supposed to do, like stepping in and taking charge of the things that they should actually take charge of. So it's a good step. I don't think it necessarily takes away from teams that already have the advantage of not porpoising. And
No, don't take anything away from them because they're anyway not suffering from.
yeah, but again, I also think that it's like the issue and the effect in itself is very track dependent. So we don't know how it hurts the other teams in future, because from pre-season testing, what I remember is McLaren is the only team that did not have porpoising. Like they did not have porpoising at all.
Yeah, but Silverstone will be a track where almost all the teams will bring in major changes.
Upgrades, except McLaren and Haas, I think.
Haas is, yeah, I don't see any reports of them bringing updates. Yeah.
No, Haas has said that we are
McLaren-
not going.
McLaren said it won't.
Yeah, McLaren has also said that they are now going to focus on understanding their car and making it better. There are not going to be any major upgrades that they will be bringing. I don't know why.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, that's it. That's really all I have to say. Now let's come to another. I would not call this controversial. I would just call it stupid, like the F1 2022 driver ratings. Man, I'm just going to share my screen so that we can see the ratings. But yeah, so this is what they've considered, like experience, racecraft, awareness, and pace. And these are the ratings. So let's start with experience. Okay, experience, I think fair. Like Fernando has the highest, so has the lowest. I still think that they've ranked Magnussen a little low in experience.
Yeah.
He sure he had a 1-year break, but he's been racing since mid 2010s, I would say.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's some discrepancy still. Like I don't think George Russell has any less experience than Lance Stroll, for example.
I mean, we are not a very Canadian driver friendly podcast, so so I don't know what to say.
Still,
But
even Gasly has more experience than Stroll.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah. Gasly, no, I think Gasly and Stroll both started in 2017, right?
Then is it just that key how many years they have been racing?
What else would the experience be? Like based on the number of race starts a driver has have over the course of their careers. So I don't think how many starts Lance Stroll race starts. 109. And Gasly, I don't know if I should trust Wikipedia. 95 starts. Okay.
Wow.
I guess it's justified then.
Okay.
I don't know, but sure. When did Gasly start? Did Gasly start in 2018? 2018, Danny Rick was still in Red Bull. So
2017 he started.
And 2017 was when Lance Stroll also started in Williams, I think. He got a podium in Baku. And
Williams, didn't he start with...
started with Williams.
Started with Williams, correct.
Yeah, courtesy of Papa Stroll. But yeah, anyways, it's okay. Like they have, with these young drivers, I think with Ocon, Ocon did have a 1-year break in his career in 2020, I would say. Right? Yeah. But sure, okay.
That's okay.
If you say so, okay, this is what it is. But let's come to racecraft. In what universe does Lance Stroll have a better racecraft than Fernando Alonso? I will not understand. And then Daniel Ricciardo, Sebastian Vettel, Valtteri Bottas, Kevin Magnussen. Like, I'll discount these other four because they are fairly young drivers. I would still say Zoe and Yuki have a better racecraft than Stroll, but okay, I am going to disregard. But you're saying that between these 4-5 drivers, there are some hundreds of race wins and 6 championships, and Lance Stroll is better than all of them. The guy who has not won any race. Has he won any race in Formula One? I don't think so. He's had, I think, 2 or 3 podiums.
Podiums, I don't think he has any win.
Yeah, Baku, I remember Baku.
Yes, 3 podiums, but no win.
Yeah, 2017 Baku. Then I think he has a podium in Turkey in 2020, and then Sakir 2020, when his teammate won in equal machinery from last.
Yeah.
And still, Sergio Perez has the same racecraft as Lance Stroll. In what universe? In what universe?
What is their thing for racecraft? What have they said? How is it?
Drivers' ability to work their way through the pack and finish in a higher position than when they started.
No, man.
I remember Fernando Alonso, I think in Baku, had a puncture, took the car to the pits, and then was able to make up places. Sergio Perez has done that multiple times. Sebastian Vettel won a championship like that, spun in Brazil in the first lap, ended up 6th, I think, 5th or 6th, and Fernando Alonso was 2nd and still won the championship. This
is EA or
Codemasters, I think.
Codemasters. Codemasters is owned by EA, no?
I think so. Yeah, EA Sports, yeah.
Yeah, so how, I mean, what I've seen till now, I can clearly be happy by ignoring it. This affects, this does affect your career mode, no? In the 2022 race?
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, still like, I mean, if people play as Lance Stroll, sure.
They might
good
have.
For them. But yeah.
Okay, let's look at the top.
I would no. I think George Russell has had to make up more places than Lando and Charles, I would say. Like being 3 years in a Williams, sure, he's not been able to do much, but if anybody has been able to do better than a lot of people, I would say it's George Russell. But okay, sure, if you say so.
Yeah, but no, this guy shouldn't have been there.
Yeah, at least, I mean, like Lance Stroll, I can't justify it. Everything else is okay. There is going to be some subjectivity. Let's come to awareness.
And what is their criteria? What do they say?
Awareness is less time spent in the steward's room will help drivers here. Real world punishments will impact the scores in this category. Okay, sure. Pretty clean drivers up top. Kevin Magnussen, of course. Like,
again, Alonso doesn't spend a lot of time in the...
Yeah, but Alonso gets away with a lot of things.
And what has Albon done?
I don't know what he has done. I have no clue. Like, he did not race in 2021. Other than that, I think even when he was in Red Bull and Toro Rosso, I think he had pretty clean seasons. I've not watched all the races yet, so I'm not sure.
Like, I would say maybe take penalty points that the current...
By that logic, Max should be last. He has one of the highest points. I think 7 points right now. That they're going to stay till September, I think.
Max has...
7 or 8 penalty points.
Max has 7, correct. Perez has 7, Stroll has 8, Yuki has 8.
Yuki has 8, Stroll, okay. Still, like, I mean, what I think Lawrence Stroll paid for this rating also.
Okay, so I would like if somebody says awareness.
Awareness, like Lance Stroll should not get any points. Like, did you not see the Australia crash?
Australia crash with Haas, and
he was also weaving on the track during the race.
Latifi ke saath kahan pe hua tha uska crash?
Australia qualifying, yeah. Right before, I think, turn that DRS straight turn between 3rd and 4th.
Like, for me, awareness would be very closely related to racecraft because awareness for me is how aware you are of who is around you while racing, while qualifying, how aware you are of the situation, taking your own decisions. Like all the times when Vettel would give his team instructions on what to do in terms of strategy and all. Those are things that are
Ferrari
realistic.
trait,
Yeah.
Ferrari driver trait. Anyways, let's come to pace now. Pace, okay, Max highest. I understand.
Sure. Okay.
Charles,
Yeah.
okay, Lewis, George, Lando. Okay, not this year because that McLaren overall is shit, but he has still done better than Danny Rick, so I get it.
Okay. Is Perez that far away in terms of pace?
I mean, if you look at the last season in Red Bull, he was, but certainly not as far off as Bottas was last year. So I don't think this is justified. Like, at least Perez was third. Like, Bottas would be somewhere, I don't know where. Like,
So, what is the criteria? What have you said?
for pace is benefits those who get closest to the fastest qualifying and race lap times. A driver beating their teammate is also taken into consideration. So
again, I don't see why. So they are taking into consideration this year also.
They've not specified the years.
Because I don't see why George Russell is so high. He's just become faster now.
Yeah, but I mean, even in the Williams, he was consistently beating Nicholas Latifi, except for a couple of races last year when Latifi was actually outperforming George. I think, especially after George got his Mercedes contract, he was like, "Arey, fuck it, I've done enough for Williams." So,
yeah. Still, like,
I want to know like the duration that they consider. And I mean, if they've given Fernando Alonso 98 in experience, I'm assuming that they're going to assume the entire career.
Wow. No. Yeah, that's what. So if they're considering that, taking all that into consideration,
Then I even think Ricciardo this far down is not justified. Like, he beat Max 2 out of 3 seasons that he was racing.
He can't be slower than Tsunoda do.
Yeah, like he beat Jean-Eric Verne in 1 season.
Yeah.
He also beat Sebastian Vettel in 2014. He
was as fast as Verstappen.
He beat Hulkenberg and Esteban Ocon in Renault.
Yeah.
The only time he's not beaten a teammate till now is Lando Norris. That's because I mean, it's sad to see Daniel Ricciardo like this.
Yeah.
I'm almost at the end of 2013 season, so I get to see Daniel Ricciardo and Red Bull now.
Yay.
2014 onwards, so I'm excited.
Okay, so yeah, from all the ratings that I see, some of it seems very arbitrary, and I really want to know how they.
Yes. Like, there is maths involved. There is maths involved. I'm like, and then overall rating, I don't know, have they arrived? Is it weighted average? Because if Lando has 64 in experience, 94, 82, and 90, no way is the average going to be 90. So there is a weighted average.
Yeah.
There has to be a weighted average. I don't know what the weights are.
But have you seen the any gameplay of the new game?
2022 game?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
So I usually watch only Arava Racing karke. He's a UK based. He's part of that quadrant group also.
Okay.
Norris's group. So I started following his career mode. There are some interesting some interesting additions, and he's saying the handling is different. So I want to try it out. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, the next time I buy a F1 game would be when I have the wheel, because there is no point buying a game worth 2K, 3K and just play with the controller. Anyways, let's talk about
the newer generation people. Who's your favorite?
Pierre Gasly and George Russell. Even Charles. Like, there are just drivers I don't like. Everybody else, I don't have a problem with them. Like, go do your thing. They're just people that I don't like. And it's not even about just their racing. It's more about things they do or say. Or all right, let's come to.
So what are we looking forward to
in Silverstone?
Yeah.
It's going to be redemption for somebody. Is it going to be Max? Is it going to be Lewis? Or is it going to be Charles? That is the question.
I want Leclerc's string of bad luck to end.
Yeah, same. But the problem is,
I have this feeling that Red Bull is bringing in like another massive upgrade. So
yeah, it's going to be like the 2011 or 2013 season when Red Bull has won so many races that like nobody can. Yeah, it's going to be one of those seasons.
So yeah, and I want who is now fourth? McLaren is fourth? No. McLaren is fourth now.
McLaren is fourth.
So, but they are not bringing any updates. So we'll have another shuffle, I think, midfield. I really want Renault to do something like maybe make Mercedes feel a bit of heat. That'll be fun.
Mercedes is 188 points. Alpine is 57. It's going to be a little while for Alpine to make anything.
There are two clear, like Ferrari and Red Bull in their own bubble, right?
And with Ferrari, I would say that they fuck up so much. Like Mercedes is only 40 points behind Ferrari in the constructors as of right now. So I don't know.
Oh wow.
And Charles is now third. Like imagine going from leading the championship by 30 points to now being third.
Do you think Red Bull would allow, like, from whatever circumstances, through whatever circumstances, if Sergio had a better chance of winning?
No, they won't let it happen. They won't let that chance happen. Like I know Red Bull, there was a lot of this backlash, can you say, for like the team orders in Spain. And I know Max was on fresher tires, he was faster and everything, but he also did not have a functioning DRS. So who knows? Like he was struggling to pass that Mercedes as well with George Russell. I mean, can you imagine a season where Spanish GP was good? Like where it was interesting. So I think that there are not going to be explicit team orders. I think Sergio Perez will be screwed up in strategy. Like the strategy calls would be such that Max will always be on the winning strategy. Even though he's just 36 points behind Max. I mean, of course, like, if you look at from the team's perspective, there's no point splitting points between the two drivers. Yeah, I think Max is winning another championship, and I'm happy. I want him to win one without any controversy. So
what else will be talking points what else are the talking points for Britain?
Okay. High-Tech GP, the Juri Vips team in F2 has said Juri Vips to complete his F2 season with High-Tech, providing him with the opportunity to redeem himself.
What's happening in F2? He's 7th.
Yeah. So F2 has released a statement saying, following the recent incident involving Juri Vips, F2 would like to reaffirm that the use of racist or discriminatory language cannot be tolerated in any environment. High-Tech Grand Prix's decision today is surprising and not one we would have taken. We will monitor the situation carefully with them to ensure that such behavior is properly addressed.
F2 is basically not going to stop him from racing.
Yeah, basically that.
Nope, I don't get it. He's 7th. He has a chance of. Is he in the top 3? Could he be in the top 3? That's why High Tech is doing this. Okay. High Tech is 4th. So, like, if he retires, the points still remain, right? I don't understand why he's not being let off. No, this is not. No, doesn't make sense and very disappointing. Really disappointing. So, apart from that,
Yeah. Anyways, British GP.
yeah.
So I hope Danny Rick has a good race. What do you think about Daniel? Like, I mean, Zach Brown has, since his criticisms, come out and said that Danny Rick will stay with McLaren for 2023. But I mean, beyond that, I don't see much happening for Daniel. Like, where is he going to go if he decides to leave McLaren, or if McLaren decides to not renew a contract?
Where does he have left to go? Can't go back to Renault.
Can't go back to Red Bull.
Can't go back. Obviously not.
He won't go back to Red Bull. He would much rather retire.
I don't think Red Bull will take him back also.
Yeah.
Ferrari? Wow.
If Red Bull had the option to either get Sebastian Vettel back or Daniel Ricciardo back, who would you think they would go for? With Max being the other driver.
Danny.
I know, same.
Because come on, let's face it,
Vettel won't play the team game. I
don't think he'll be very good at it.
2021.
You know, he won't be very good at it anyway. Like, he won't bring that performance that's needed that Red Bull wants from both its drivers. Vettel doesn't have it anymore.
What?
No. No, I don't see that. I don't see it in his racing. Like,
it's in an Aston Martin. I think
that break, he did recover nicely, but still, that first instance of him locking up and.
But that donut was amazing.
Almost almost crashed with the barrier.
But I mean, we saw a lot of people make that mistake. I mean, I think at one point during the weekend, even Fernando Alonso made that mistake. So
they did, but
Vettel was the only one who did not have to do like a 4.5 point turn or something. He did a donut. I think that's pretty impressive.
Mistake in the first place, no.
No.
After that, you do whatever circus, it's okay. But
like, imagine going in there and just losing one place. Like, that donut was so amazing. Like, in an otherwise frustrating Baku GP, I think that Sebastian Vettel donut was the
highlight.
The highlight was what we needed. So yeah, I would say,
like, I see his stint in Ferrari was both, like, his racecraft was affected by him making mistakes, as well as that Ferrari atmosphere. Like, it almost felt like it made him dumber for some weird reason. It seemed like that after his watching him in Ferrari.
I mean, I haven't watched it yet, so I can't make any comments. Sure. I know a lot of people prefer the Red Bull Vettel than the Ferrari Vettel, but
yeah,
I personally think we've had enough assholes in Formula One. I'm glad Sebastian Vettel is no more a part of that that group of people. We now have Max, Lando, Fernando. So yeah.
Who else? So,
do you think Mick Schumacher will get his first points in Silverstone?
But Haas is not bringing any upgrades, no?
Yeah, but like, I mean, still, even
Albon
Canada, they qualified Q3.
Yeah.
Both the cars.
Why am I'm getting this feeling that with the upgrade that Albon will get for Silverstone, he might have a chance to score points.
I mean, it depends. I would say, like, even with Haas, the performance that we saw in Bahrain, like nothing much has happened after that.
Yeah,
They've been pretty much, there have been no points after that. And with Albon, sure, it what it says is on paper it could give them around a second of advantage. But I still think that there are enough people to go through that midfield to get into points for Alex Albon. I can see the frequency of points increasing for Williams, but if it's a normal race, a non-crazy race, I still think they are going to be finishing 9th or 10th or something like that. Even Kevin Magnussen finishing 5th in Bahrain was because there was a double Red Bull DNF. And even Lewis Hamilton finishing on the podium, the reason was because there was a double Red Bull DNF. So I think that this entire philosophy of not bringing upgrades is causing Haas a lot of harm because because other teams are improving and they are still pretty much where they were in the start of the season. So I really don't know why they've chosen this, but for a team that wrote off the last season to prepare for this season, I think improving in driver standing from 10th to 9th is not a justified reason for them to like just write off one entire season. So I don't know what they are.
I think you know what, they're also struggling because of the crashes that Schumacher has had.
There are so many teams who have had those crashes, but okay, but I mean still like Kevin Magnussen has also not been able to do.
No, but what I'm saying is their resources, they have had to spend more resources repairing than progressing, is what I see.
But there is a cost cap, right?
There's a cost cap, but that means that the guys who are closer in, there's a cost cap, but these guys are not using the full cost cap, right?
Yeah, so that's a decision that they are taking. Like, I don't know, like I can understand not going above the cost cap, but they are not doing anything. Like 140 million.
No, but that's what, it's a cost cap. It doesn't mean that they have 140 million. And especially after Mazepin left, there must be a cash crunch.
I don't think that 140 million is not possible. Like,
in the standings, they were last.
They were 10th last year.
Right
now they are 9th.
Which means they will have more CFD and tunnel time also.
Sure, but like what is the point? Because they had the maximum number of tunnel time even for developing this car, right? Because they finished last. So what's the point? Like I still think that they have the option to overtake Aston Martin, but I don't see that happening. Like first, I think Mick needs to step up his game.
Do you see Alfa Romeo fighting closer with, say, fighting for 5th or something right now?
Alfa Romeo, yeah, I think so. I think that if Alfa Romeo is able to give Zhou a reliable car, I think Zhou is putting in good performances considering that these cars are difficult and he's in his rookie season. I think he's doing a phenomenal job. He has DNF'd in, I think, 3 races out of last 9 races that have happened. So in 6 races, he scored points in 2 of them. Not the best result, but if you look at what Mick is doing, what Nicholas Latifi, with all the experience that he's had, is doing, I think Zhou for his first year is doing a decent enough job. And I mean, Valtteri has also been very consistent he's only not scored in Saudi and Baku, and Saudi he had a problem. He DNF'd. So there is only one race in which he actually finished out of points. So I think Alfa does have potential, but they need to make sure that their second car is reliable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember how angry Zoe was in Baku when they told him that they'll have to retire the car?
Yeah. His engine went, no?
Yeah. And like reliability is going to play a big part. I think that Mercedes, the reliability is good, Mercedes engine, but the pace is not there. Like all the customer teams also, like there's no pace in that Mercedes engine, at least not as comparable to the Red Bull and Ferrari, and to an extent Alpine. But I don't know, what would you prefer, like have good performance but less reliability, or have more reliability but less performance? I think more performance, less reliability makes sense.
For a brand new formula, I think reliability is important.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, if you start retiring because of reliability issues, that affects your team morale a lot more.
Even development, that will affect your development as
well. Yeah, because you're fighting that game with repairs. So for a very new formula, like later you can reliability later it comes anyway. So first, if you play that game, you get reliability right, and then you are sorted.
Yeah.
Then performance will come. Those things, there are always these very smart people to find out, eke out that last percentage of performance. But before that, you need to be consistent. Yay, consistency again. See?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what else from?
I just want Danny Rick to have a good season. That's all I want. Not wanted anything else. Just for him to have a good season.
Okay. So what is your prediction for the British GP?
So we have a prediction league that we do on our channel. So I'll just read out all the predictions.
Okay.
That we have. So there are 3 people other than me. There's Shakuni, there is Kramer, and there is Honey Badger. So Kramer's predictions are Hamilton, Perez, Charles for the podium in race, fastest lap to George, and then he's predicted Max DNF, Lando beats Daniel Ricciardo, and there will be at least 2 DNFs in the race.
Ooh, okay.
Shakuni's prediction is Russell, Charles, Perez, fastest lap to Max. Then he says Vettel in points, K-Mag beats Mick Schumacher, and at least 1 McLaren in points. Honey Badger's predictions are Max, Lewis, Russell, fastest lap to Max, then 1 Alpha in points, Alonso top 8 in the race, and at least 2 DNFs. My predictions are Charles, Max, Lewis, fastest lap to Sainz. Then I've predicted Mick Schumacher gets his first points, so makes it into Q3, and Lando out of points. We have a pretty spicy mix of predictions this time.
Okay, interesting.
So whose predictions do you think are the most likely? I think it's mine.
Yeah, even I think it's yours.
I know, right? So amazing.
But I get a feeling that one small change that I would make is Sainz would be on the podium rather than Lewis.
Nah.
Apart from that, the rest I can agree with. That is what I also have.
Nah. I think I'm not saying it's because I think Lewis or like Mercedes is faster than Ferrari as of now, but they do have a um, big upgrade package. And what they've also said is that it's going to help them in weight loss as well, 4-5 kgs of weight. So that's going to come into play. I think Sainz is going to fuck up his start, and I think he won't be able to make up those places.
Oh wow.
This is what I think. Of course, I thought the same in Canada as well, but Sainz at least stuck to his third and eventually then made up one place. But yeah, I think Sainz is good at recovery drives. Like, he has not had the best starts in the races. So I think that is going to continue.
Okay.
I'm hoping for Red Bull troubles, like only to make the championship more interesting. Like
I see.
I just want the championship to be more interesting, because I said it in the last podcast as well. Like, Ferrari has forgotten what Ferrari used to be. There are way too many variables of things that can go wrong. Like, if the driver is doing everything right, the car is going to stop. Or if they have good strategy, they are still going to fuck up the pit stops. Or they are just going, or if they've qualified well, they are going to fuck up the strategy. Or if everything else is going right, the driver is going to make a mistake. Like, there are so many variables that can go wrong with Ferrari. And like, Honey Badger is between the four of us, Honey Badger is like an ardent Ferrari fan, and I now understand his pain. This championship is going to be
like, it's like that. Was it 2018 where first
Sebastian?
half of the
Sebastian Vettel was doing very good, and then I think Singapore.
So yeah, similar situation. Like, first half it was like very close with Mercedes, and then it just went doosh.
Yeah, but like, I think this season Ferrari has started doing Ferrari things way too early in the season. Like, it's way too early for them to start fucking it up. Like, at least, like, I'm assuming if things started going south for Ferrari in Singapore typically happens in the later half of the season. Right? So at least they had like a pretty dominant season up until Singapore. And like, I mean, I know eventually Lewis won the championship, but like, at least until then it was interesting. Like, right now I don't see anybody catching up, because I don't think Red Bull is going to let Perez catch up with Max. And if Ferrari does not get its shit together, Max has won the championship, because I don't think that even George can catch up with Max. Like, he's 64 points behind him. Like, we can have an interesting season if there are at least 2 more Max Verstappen DNFs. Otherwise, he's won the championship. In the next 8 to 9 races, if he's able to put in those consistent performances, the championship would be decided in the next 7-8 races, because there is going to come a point where mathematically nobody can beat him. So I think, yeah.
Interesting.
What are your predictions? I know I didn't ask you to make.
Okay, mine is Max, Leclerc, and Perez. Fastest will be Perez. What we'll have is midfield pack will have fight between Alpine and Alfa Romeo. And surprise by Daniel.
Yes.
I mean, I hope I want it, but
everybody wants it.
Yeah, so I think that's 10 drivers, huh? Okay, almost.
Yeah. I hope Daniel Ricciardo has a good season from this point onwards.
I want to smile as wide as he does.
Yeah. Thank you everybody for listening to this episode. Thank you, Sid, for joining. I know this was very last minute.
I'll be happy to do it again.
Yes. Less than 15 hours of heads up, and thank you for doing this. And that was it. That was our Silverstone preview. If you like the episode, please share it with your friends. Click on the notification bell so that you get notifications when we post new episodes. If you want us to cover anything, if you have any feedback for us, or if you want to come join us on the podcast, please write to us at overthecurvepodcast@gmail.com. You can also reach out to us on our Instagram at overthecurvepodcast, or on our Twitter at overthecurvepod. Until Silverstone this weekend. Bye.